European Super League. All 6 Premier League clubs pull out of the proposed tournament after heavy criticism from all parts of the game.
In the end, the pressure proved too much. Spurs say they regret the anxiety and upset. Arsenal simply say sorry. Whether the Super League will happen at all is now in huge doubt.
Plans for a European Super League are unravelling after all 6 English football clubs decided to pull out just days after the competition was announced.
Yeah, also that happened last night. Manchester City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United and Tottenham have all now gone back on their decision to take part after a huge backlash from all parts of the game. Here's Joe Linsky with more.
Football's great breakaway lasted less than 48 hours. Amid rising anger in the game, all 6 English clubs lost their nerve. Manchester City were first to formally pull out of the European Super League. Earlier, their coach said a closed-shop competition had no integrity.
It's not a sport when the relation between the effort and the success, the effort and reward don't exist. So it's not a sport. It's not a sport and it doesn't matter if you lose.
Chelsea fans heard their team would withdraw from outside Stamford Bridge. They'd gathered before a match to add their voice. And the FA says supporters have played their part. In a statement, English football's governing body said it would like to thank the fans for their influential and unequivocal voice. It is a powerful reminder, they say, the game will always be for fans. The Prime Minister said the club's decisions were the right one. Earlier, Liverpool's players had shown what they thought on Twitter. Some, including Jordan Henderson, said we don't like it and we don't want it to happen. Now the people in the game have got their way.
Don't forget, football players are fans. They've grown up being fans of football themselves, so they know what it feels like to be a fan, and they understand the connection between the players, the fans, the club.
Arsenal's statement said they'd made a mistake and they apologised for it, while Spurs said they regret the anxiety and upset the move caused. At Manchester United, Ed Woodward will leave his role as executive vice-chairman at the end of the year, the club say in a separate move. This has been a climb down from those at the top, but the rest of the game has been unified, and football remains open. Joe Linsky, BBC News.
I mean, Sally, it's been a roller coaster, hasn't it?
It's been like a disaster movie, hasn't it?
Yeah.
On almost every level, in terms of the fans' reaction, how devastated so many of the fans were, in terms of, I think, the communication from the owners of the clubs that have been involved in this. I just want to share with you a statement that's come actually from the European Super League, because we've heard a lot, haven't we, overnight and over the last few hours. We've heard from the clubs themselves that have pulled out. We've heard a lot from the footballers who have reacted to all of this. But this is from the European Super League. They've said, despite the announced departure of the English clubs, forced to take such decisions due to the pressure put on them, we are convinced our proposal is fully aligned with European law and regulations. Given the current circumstances, we shall reconsider the most appropriate steps to reshape the project, always having in mind our goals of offering fans the best experience possible. So, according to them, and as you can see from this, not everybody's out. It's the English clubs that we know confirmed that are out at the moment. According to the European Super League, for them, it is not over. But I think it's interesting, isn't it? If you watch it, that few hours last night and what happened when it all started to crumble, the first 2 clubs that we saw come out were Chelsea and Manchester City, and there's a little bit of debate over who went first.
Yeah.
Interesting that both of those clubs are essentially, they're owned almost by countries in a way, if you like. You know, Roman Abramovich, Sheikh Mansour, they're owned by incredibly wealthy people. The clubs that were perhaps in at the start are owned by the American owners who wanted to push this through and, I don't know, maybe didn't understand the significance of the change.
Well, I mean, it's been extraordinary to watch. Thank you very much. And we'll continue to talk about the sort of fallout. Thank you.
Yeah.
The European Super League features on most of today's front pages. Here, the Times headline says the league crumbles as clubs bow to fan fury.
The Daily Mail describes the saga as football's civil war and says the owners of the 6 clubs have been shamed by fans, politicians and players. we talked a lot about that story over the last sort of 48 hours, and it has really dominated. You know, you've got everybody from football fans to the Prime Minister and everyone in between talking about it. One of the potential areas of fallout is whether some of these American owners now, this has been discussed last night, might consider their future of actually being involved in these clubs, because they've sort of misread the situation so spectacularly, had to withdraw then from the European Super League. I mean, where does it sort of leave them in terms of being at a club where you are essentially employing the players, employing the manager, and everybody turns against you and says what you want to do with that business of yours is wrong, and then you have to change your mind?
It was just an extraordinary sort of pack of cards, wasn't it?
Amazing.
Falling over, dominoes falling over yesterday.